2022 is almost to an end, meaning that the holidays are right around the corner and people are looking for gift ideas. And what is a better gift idea than a mechanical keyboard? There is none. So here are my personal top 5 favorite keyboards for 2022. Starting at number 5 with the best keyboard under $50, which in my opinion is the RK61. It's very cheap at $50, which is really good for a keyboard of this quality. The biggest feature on this keyboard is that it is hot swappable and it does have some pretty nice RGB. It can be used wireless and wired, and the keycaps are pretty decent even though they are ABS plastic. It's just an overall solid keyboard and nothing is very good on it, but nothing's very bad on it. But for $50, you can't beat the price. At number 4, I have the DUCKY 1.3 Mini, which in my opinion is the best 60% keyboard. It costs around $120 to $130 US. This keyboard, like the RK61, is also hot swappable with 3 or 5 pin switches. Stock, it comes with a bunch of different cherry switches that you can choose from. And the stabilizers out of the box are pretty decent actually. One of my favorite things about the DUCKY 1.3 Mini is they do come in a bunch of different themes, like this one they call Daybreak. It comes with very high quality PBT keycaps. They match each of the themes that you can choose from, so I wouldn't end up replacing them because they match really nicely with each of the different themes cases. This keyboard is very good, so good in fact I almost put it at number 3, but instead at number 3 I have the RAZER HUNTSMAN Mini. This keyboard to me has the best RGB of any keyboard I have ever tried, especially out of all the 60% keyboards. It does cost $130 normally, but right now you can find it for only $80 US. It's probably because it's around Black Friday / Cyber Monday, so by the time this video comes out it's probably already gone, but just know that it does go on sale quite a bit, so you should be able to pick it up for a little bit cheaper. Which is one of the reasons I put it at number 3, because the DUCKY 1.3 Mini doesn't really go on sale too often. And I would also recommend getting their RAZER optical linear switches over the clicky switches. I really like the feel of the linear switches on this keyboard. And something really unique on this keyboard I haven't seen on any other keyboards I reviewed is each switch has its own stabilizers, which are all really smooth, especially the spacebar, which feels great. It does have the best software out of any of the keyboards too, because it is from a big company like RAZER, so their software is super clean and has everything that you need in a software. At number 2, we have what I feel is the best enthusiast level keyboard in the Ketis NJ80. I say enthusiast because it does cost quite a bit, but it is pretty much a custom keyboard in a pre-built shell, I would say. It is the most expensive, coming in at $130 to $150, depending on what options you choose to go with. I went with the brass plate as I feel like it sounds a lot better and feels a lot nicer to type on, but it is also the most expensive of the options. So you can also go with a steel plate, which honestly is not too different and is slightly cheaper. It is hot swappable and to me is the best out of the box experience, which is why I say it's a good enthusiast level keyboard, because you really don't have to do anything with it out of the box, except if you want you can probably loop the switches, but the stabilizers are really good out of the box. This is a 75% keyboard, which honestly is my favorite size in a keyboard because it's only slightly larger than a 65% keyboard, but you still have the function row and all the number keys and everything like that, so you don't really miss any keys, and it's also still compact. I really enjoy the minimalist design of this keyboard as well. It's probably my second favorite looking on this list, right behind the RAZER HUNTSMAN Mini, because it does have the best RGB and it just wows you when you see it for the first time. But I do enjoy the minimalist look on the NJ80. And it has a volume knob in the top right, which you can mute and change the volume really quickly if you're using Spotify or things like that. I was very close to putting this at the top of the list, but that price tag kind of made me hesitate a little bit, so I put it at number 2. Although it is pretty similar to number 1 on my list, which I think is the best overall, is the Eppomaker TH80, which I just recently reviewed. It only cost $100 US, which is about $30 to $50 cheaper than the NJ80. Like the NJ80, it does have the knob in the top right, it can be used wired and wireless, and it is a 75% keyboard. I do like the keycaps a lot better on the TH80 because they are a little bit bigger and the font to me looks a little bit nicer. It does have a really nice minimalist design like the NJ80 and great build quality. It is also hot swappable, but the stabilizers aren't quite as good as the NJ80. But you can always lube them, which I did, which makes it sound a lot better. So it doesn't really take too long to fix, which is why I didn't really weight that too heavily. I pretty much put it first because it is the same keyboard in essence to the NJ80, but it is a lot cheaper and I enjoy the keycaps on the TH80 a lot more, which are a little bit more expensive than replacing the stabilizers. So that's why I put it number 1. If you didn't really like any of the keyboards on the list, I can give you a few more options here. We got the KEMOVE SNOWFOX 61, which is pretty even with the DUCKY 1.3 Mini. I just like the looks a little better on the DUCKY keyboard. And if you want a replacement for the RK61, I would go with the Red Dragon K530. They're pretty much the exact same keyboard, it just costs a little bit more than the RK61. And what I think is the most underrated keyboard is the DUCKY Maya, which is a really nice minimalistic keyboard with really cool designs out of the box and really great stabilizers. And if you don't like any keyboard here, I would always recommend building your own custom keyboard, as you can pick each part separately and choose exactly what you want in a keyboard. If you want a few websites to get started building your own keyboard, you can check out this video right here, as it has all the best websites for building your own custom keyboard.